Hey Journey, it's Pastor John, and I want to welcome you to a segment we call 5 Good Minutes. Let me just jump into it and welcome Pastor Matt Mashburn.
Thank you.
Matt Mashburn started working with us at the end of July. Your role is Executive Pastor of Operations. What's that cover?
It really covers kind of the business side of the church.
Okay.
Handle all the finance, HR, a lot of the IT needs, a lot of the support roles of the church, communications, kind of everything that's done behind the scenes to support the ministry that's going on.
And facilities.
Facilities.
That's a huge role that has to do with our
Yes.
ministry. And let's talk about the important stuff. Tell us a little bit about your family, your wife, and your kids. Tell us a little bit about your personal background.
Yeah, I'd love to tell you about my family. Married to Melissa. It's my wife of 24 years.
Nice.
Coming up on 25 this year, so we're excited about that. We've lived in South Florida for our entire marriage until May 1st. We moved to Orlando on faith, really hoping that Journey would be the place we ended up. That all worked out. God was good to us.
Good.
We also have 2 boys. Nick is 23, still lives in South Florida, and is getting married to Ashley on November 3rd of this year. And then our youngest, Bailey, lives in Louisville, Kentucky. He's 21. Great boys, just fortunate to have them in our life.
You have background in both business and ministry.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what you did business-wise before you got into full-time ministry, and then tell us a little bit about your ministry background.
Okay. I ran a company that owned and operated gas stations for 15 years, both in South Florida and Central Florida. About 15 years in, God began to change my heart. Through some conversations with a good pastor friend of mine, I realized I was being called into ministry. So I kind of took that leap of faith and went on to a staff at a mega church in South Florida. Took on the role of small groups pastor, which was a great time for me to learn how to be a pastor. It was a great season for me. Then moved into a business role, as you would expect. Interestingly enough, almost every element they used in their business department were things that I was familiar with from the gas station business, even the programs they used. So God really used that as an opportunity to prepare me for that time. Spent about 4 years there. We grew to about 14,000 people, and then God moved us on to a completely different situation. West Pines Church, which was also in South Florida, when we joined them, was about 90 people. Completely different feel than our situation at Flamingo. We stayed there for 8 years. Church grew to about 1,400 when we left back in March. 3 weeks later, attended Journey for the first time. Walked out of here, and I looked at Melissa and I said, "This is it." And she said, "Well, wait a minute. We haven't even really began conversations." We were talking to other churches, and I said, "Okay, we're going to do that, but this is it. This is where we need to be."
Sometimes you just know, right?
It was a God thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we just knew.
Cool. One of the things that people have asked who have been at Journey is the difference between what Pastor Roddy Connor did and now does, and how your role fits into that. So I think it would be good to kind of help explain that. Roddy has served as our Executive Pastor of Operations for the past 3 years or so. And Roddy is shifting into a new role now where he is going to function as our Executive Pastor of Ministries. And he'll be overseeing a lot of the pastoral staff and the ministry side of what our ministry does here. And you'll be assuming, as you said, the support side. So I kind of look at it like this. What your role is, Matt, as Executive Pastor of Operations, is about support and equipping, and what Roddy's role is going to be about is more about strategy and execution. Is that a good way to look at it, you think?
Absolutely. I always tell people I feel like when I came here, Roddy was wearing 2 hats.
He was.
And he gave me one of them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Roddy was doing more than a full-time job. He was doing probably 2 full-time jobs.
Yes.
So a lot of people don't understand that there's a lot of systems that are in operation to make a large church happen, from a volunteer system to the financial system to the security elements that we put in place to make sure people are safe, things are done well and done with integrity. So that's important.
Yeah, and as a stewardship issue, you know, it's our job to support the ministry, but it's also our job to do it in the most efficient way possible, because we want the finances to go to ministry. So if we can do what we do efficiently And with as much cost savings as possible, that money can go towards what I call frontline ministry, and allow us to do more of that. So it's really the systems that allow that. It's the systems and processes that allow that.
Well, Matt, we are delighted that God has brought you here to journey and to begin your journey with us. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. We honestly couldn't be any more excited to be a part of any other church. It's just been a fantastic experience already, so we're just ecstatic to be here.
Well, Journey, thanks for joining us today for 5 good minutes and meeting Pastor Matt Mashburn. And we'll look forward to coming to you again soon with another 5 good minutes. This is Pastor John Hampton, and I'm loving the journey.